I'm back to see if the second time is the charm to get a RTX NVIDIA 5090 running vertically in this Thermaltake the Tower 250 case. If you look at my last video, I had bought an MSI Ventus 3X OC 5090 to replace the MSI Gaming X Trio 4090 that we had been running in our gaming computer, and it didn't take. That card in this case, but I think more importantly in a vertical orientation straight up and down here, as this case is designed to be built in, would not instantly but fairly quickly rise up to about 85-90 degrees C in temperatures. Fans are blowing maximum, super loud, sounded like a jet engine. Thermal throttling didn't work. Turn the case over on its side and you could watch the temperatures just come steadily down back into a reasonable lower 60 degrees C range, and the card was working fine. So I can do this case in a horizontal orientation. I really don't want to, preferably. I made this build with some very specific plans in mind to hopefully keep the vertical orientation, tuck it over next to the bump out of my TV wall and stuff over there in the living room. So I made a trek back to Micro Center. It's my third visit to Micro Center, trying to get a workable 5090 into my computer. Returned the Ventus, thankfully. I think it wasn't that long ago, Micro Center didn't have a really great return policy structure, like limited and restocking fees and things like that. I could be wrong, but nice to see anyway that it's pretty much open return policy now. Full refund, very little questions asked kind of thing. And they had a lot of 5090s in stock. I think if you count the stock represented on the webpage, there was like 50 or 60 cards there across like several different makes and models. So I need a very specific size card to fit it in this case, no thicker than 70 millimeters. Of all the cards that they had in stock at Micro Center, only 2 fit the bill to fit the case, one being the Ventus, which didn't work. So I'm trying the other one. So I have here a Zotac Gaming 5090. This is the AMP Extreme Infinity, the top end of the Zotac line. Overclocked card, I think a little bit higher clocks out of the box than the MSI Ventus was. A little larger, but still under the 70 millimeter kind of requirement. So let's open this guy up. We'll get it in and see what happens. The question of the day: will this card be able to perform properly, adequately in a vertical orientation in the Tower 250? If not, then I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know what I'm going to do. I actually did order the horizontal stand, chassis stand for the case as well. It was only 35 bucks. I figured it's going to take a week and a half to get it. It's no big deal. If I don't use it, or if I have it, if I ever need it, that's great. And it's not a big loss for 35 bucks if I don't end up having to use it or using it right away. All right, so for the Zotac here, looks like generally nice packaging. I got a bag of something here, documentation and some printed materials. Not worried about that. Let's see here, we got a little bit of a lot of flaps. Very flappy case. All right, here we go. Card, of course, we'll look at the card in a second. Let's see what we have here for accessories. Looks like some extra cabling. This might be for RGB or some extra fan connections. And we have another little accessory here. A sag bracket, basically. Looks like we can screw this off. We can raise it and lower it, set it back where we need it to be. Now, if it works, I won't be needing that, of course, because the nice thing about a vertical mount is it doesn't really sag. And then, like a lot of these cards, we do have the power adapter for the new PCI. If you need it, this is a 4-to-1 power adapter. I have an RTX 3.1 power supply in the new case. I forget actually what the wattage was, 1500 watt, I think. Overbought, upscaled, complete PC here. So no worries there. We have the right connector. We have everything we need. Actually, more of a foam pack, anti-static foam bag rather than just a regular kind of silver bag. Some extra protection. Nice looking card here, silver. This one is RGB. The MSI Ventus was not. Nice looking back plate. We got some open ventilation to kind of blow through the heat sinks and stuff there. It was brought up in the comments of my last video that, hey, if you look at this case and you look where the bottom fans are going, there's basically nowhere for that bottom fan to blow through because the power supply is right here, and that may be affecting some of the performance, the thermal performance and whatnot, cooling performance inside the case. I'm not sure if that's really the case or not. 4090 ran cool in this case for the last few months, a handful of months since we've been doing it. Granted, this is a beefier, heavier card, pulling more power and getting hotter. So we'll see. All we can do is try it out. I think the other thing that I'm going to end up doing with this card as well, which seems to be a pretty big win around this generation of GPU in particular, is probably undervolting it. Get the power consumption down, bring the heat down, relieve some of the thermal tension on the card. And it seems to be that most people that are undervolting the 5000 series cards, and particularly the 5090s, are actually getting better performance as well, better clocks, better performance, or at least similar performance to stock, with an undervolt at quite a bit less power consumption. So once we get it all going, we get a baseline check. That would be something I think that that I'd probably give a try to. I've never really bothered with that or messed around doing that on any previous GPUs that I've owned. A real sticky material here for this film. So that's our film removed. Looking at the card, of course, 3 big fans. We have our power connector there. That's the extra power connector button here. That might be a BIOS switch. I believe this is a dual BIOS card. One more film removal on the back. And then, of course, I already unplugged the one connector, but we have 1 HDMI and 3 display ports. I really wish they would do 2 and 2. There's been times where I've wanted dual HDMI flexibility. I know you can do HDMI to DisplayPort adapters, but especially in a home theater type of environment where I run my gaming PCs and run all my setups, it's better to, in my opinion, it's better to have the native port. So HDMI is actually over here. I just bumped that when I was taking stuff off. So yeah, 1 HDMI, 3 display ports. This is definitely a tighter fit than the MSI card, but it's in nonetheless. There's a foam pad around the power supply cage. It's just a little bit thick for this card, but we're able to get it in there. It's screwed in. It's tight, and I think we'll be okay, hopefully, with the side panel. Good. Happily good to go. Minimal clearance, but we have clearance. Power supply plugged in, and I think we're all set. Question of the day, how is it going to run? Running connected back to the television, back in vertical orientation with the case, and I am happy to report that this card is absolutely fantastic. I am so glad that I took the MSI Ventus back and moved over to this Zotac. This thing is running beautifully in this upright vertical orientation in the case. No cooling troubles, no throttling troubles, no problems whatsoever. This thing is just absolutely eating up the games and performing beautifully in this case, in this configuration, and in this orientation. It does fit in there a little bit bigger than the Ventus did, but it's completely fine. Everything went back together like it was expected to. Plenty of room, plenty of ventilation, temperatures, and everything are working fantastically. Let's go ahead and fire up Spider-Man and take a look at some of the metrics. All right, Spider-Man 2 looking out over this nighttime scene. Beautiful looking city. Let's take a quick look at some settings here. Very similar to what I was running before. Anyway, we've got, of course, 4K resolution, running 115 FPS. I'm not going to go through all of the GPU settings and stuff like that. I'll probably do another dedicated video, break that stuff out of the prior video about the MSI Ventus. G-Sync VRR with 115 FPS frame rate cap, HDR, all this stuff turned on. DLSS quality with the upscale preset set to transformer, no dynamic resolution, no frame generation, none of that stuff. And basically a combination here of a bunch of high, very high type settings. Shadows are medium, but that's because the higher shadows actually still don't look very good. I am only using ray traced reflections and the ray tracing geometry detail. I know some folks pointed that out in another video. You're not even using all the RTX features. Well, if you do some research about the preferred settings in Spider-Man 2, you may find that these are performance hits without really visual fidelity gains per se, based on my research anyway. If anybody has alternative suggestions though, hey, feel free to put them in the comments. I'm happy to try them out So again, combination of a lot of high, very high, some ultra settings, a lot of the camera effects turned off, a higher field of view than normal, and the card is just eating up the game. Absolutely fantastic performance with low temps. I haven't really even seen it go past the mid 60s. Quiet cooling, very little noise coming from the computer. Super happy with the results. So I don't know how visible these stats might be. Hopefully it's somewhat readable there on screen. But as we're going through here, we can see I'm using Afterburner here for statistics. I don't have any overclocks applied. I don't have any undervolt applied. This is just literally out of the box stock performance of the card. Running here, swinging through the city, 62, 63 degrees C. Looking at boost clocks up to just about under 2800 megahertz, 2775, with a wattage use of only 345. I figured this card would be pulling a lot more than that. I don't know if something is actually under-reporting, but yeah, I almost feel like no need to do an undervolt per se. Fan speeds all in the mid to low, or well, mid-ish 40% there, right around say 1500 RPM on the fans. Memory utilization about 14 gig, and then there's some CPU and RAM stats there as well. And again, FPS here, swinging through the city, holding over 100. Well, there's a 99, but basically bouncing between about 100 and 103 and the 115 cap. This nighttime scene, a lot of lighting, a lot of ray tracing going on. I'm very happy with this upgrade. This card is doing work here, certainly that the 4090, far and above and beyond what the 4090 was doing. So this card is doing far more work, far better performance results than I was getting out of the 4090. It was expensive, but overall, I have to say, I love being on the cutting edge of PC gaming. The fidelity, the image quality, the game just looks awesome, plays awesome, flows awesome. So super happy with this, and definitely an upgrade over the 4090. Be using this PC for a while, and we'll be happy. We'll see where we go from here. Again, I don't know, maybe I will try an undervolt. Maybe I'll try the AI overclocking options that are available in the NVIDIA app, but in any case, the results speak for themselves. So PC gaming in the living room is definitely where it's at for me, and I got everything now that I wanted basically out of this build. All current parts, cutting edge parts, top of the line parts for what's available right now, in a vertical orientation, an upright orientation style case, a fishbowl style case where the cables and the things are coming out of the back rather than the side. I think it fits the environment. It looks a little bit nicer here in the room, and as we go forward, there's going to be a little bit more integration. Of course, I have the HDMI cable kind of snaking across the front of the speakers. If you follow the channel, you know, hopefully this year, in the course of this year, we're going to be rebuilding this room a little bit, pulling down this TV wall, reorienting, rebuilding it for a new speaker configuration, hopefully a 97-inch television as well, and I'll have my opportunity to integrate more of the cabling, the wiring, and probably even bring some of the other gear perhaps up here in the living room, get things a little bit more cabinet and specifically kind of set. But as it is right now, we're good with this thing. It doesn't have to be in the basement. Controller reliability is what I want out of it. I have accessibility to the PC itself to be able to wire in a fight stick and alternative types of controls like that. So yeah, everything has worked out. We've avoided the overheating upright problem with the MSI Ventus. Was able to find a card, hit the card lottery, I think, with this one. Again, based on how it's running, cool temps, and boosting performance, I think I struck strongly in the chip lottery with this specific Zotac. I would have preferred to pay a little bit less for it, preferably under $3,000, brand new retail, but hey, it is what it is. Hopefully stock of these cards is actually going to settle itself out coming up. I know, looking at just my local Micro Center, they're actually starting to keep quite a variety of 5090s in stock, almost to the point where maybe I probably would have been better off waiting perhaps another month or two, because I think inevitably some of these really inflated retail prices are going to have to come back down towards the reality of what the card was originally intended to be and originally launched at. But yeah, stick to the channel. This is the topic that I really like. I'll probably kind of redo a whole overview again of gaming with a PC in a living room home theater environment. Those videos have always done really well. They continue to get a lot of views. They continue to get a lot of feedback, questions, and comments. And this is certainly a topic of discussion that I really enjoy. So if you have any questions about that, please leave them in the comments here. Let me know what type of specific content you would like to see about this setup, about, again, PC gaming in a living room / home theater type of environment. And let me know as well, did you score a 5090? What is your 5000 series NVIDIA GPU generation. What has it been like? If I can help you in any other ways, Techthusiasm, I am a dealer for a variety of home theater and audio video brands: Kaleidoscape, JVC, Seymour screens, Panamorph lenses, SVS, Denon Marantz, Focal, Snap brands like Wattbox and Strong for the racks and the mounts and that sort of stuff. I carry over 24 different brands. If you're looking to build something out, if you're looking to do some upgrades, please reach out to Jeremy at Techthusiasm.net or go to www.techthusiasm.net. Check out the webpage, check out my brand listing. There's a contact form there. Get in touch. I would love to help you power up your audio video entertainment. If you'd like to support me in other ways, hey, there's a bunch of affiliate links down in the description for your general shopping. Amazon, Audio Advice, Crutchfield, Walmart, and a whole bunch more. Please use those in your everyday shopping. Leave a PayPal tip, Venmo tip, a super thanks, or hey, become a channel member. Really appreciate all of the channel members. Thanks for watching. Please do that regular YouTube stuff. Like, subscribe, hit the bell, share the video. Leave a comment. Let's discuss PC gaming in the living room. Thanks for watching. Come on back for more home theater discussion and fun.